Okay, so this is just a video to replace the one that I did the other day, just because I want to make sure that I fix the problems that I fixed. So first, this equation that we're dealing with is going to be a reciprocal function because the original reciprocal function is 1 over x. Now, this has a fraction, so automatically it becomes your reciprocal function since your x is at the bottom. Now, the original equation with a reciprocal function in all its transformation looks like this, okay, where A is your vertical stretch or compression, K is your horizontal stretch or compression, D is your horizontal translation, and C is your vertical translation. So we need to kind of analyze the equation I gave you up here to be able to make this work. So what I've gone ahead and done, and maybe I'll just erase this and do this with you, is that you'll notice at the bottom that the K is outside the bracket. So we need to make sure that we factor out a 6, which means to divide by 6 on both sides. So we take out a 6, and we have x minus 2 left over. So the K value, very evidently, this 6 value right here, okay? So K equals 6. In the prior video, I made a mistake, and I put that K was 1 over 6, but that is false. The transformation has to do with 1 over 6, but the K value itself is actually 6. So let's go ahead and start writing our numbers in here. I also want you to notice that I could put a 2 over here times 1 over so that you can really tell what the reciprocal function looks like. Okay, so you can tell that this is your 1 over x, okay, but with some transformations, and that the 2 multiplied in the front just shows where your A value is. If you look at it this way, you can't really tell that your A is the value of 2. So, as I just said, the A value is 2. So you'll notice here that the A value is equal to 2. So if I just click on that, it's 2. And there's a couple things that A does. Because it is greater than 1, it is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. And because it has no negative, it does not have a reflection. So that means it's opened up, and that's because A is greater than 0. Okay, and so since A is a positive number, we know that it opens up. So now if we move over and look at the K value, the K looks like negative 2. It really does. But you have to make sure you use the opposite. So it's actually plus 2. So if I click on that, you'll notice that, sorry, not the K value, the D value. The D value is plus 2. And the D value is always a horizontal translation. And because it's plus 2, it's a horizontal translation of 2 units to the right. Now we can do our K value. Our K value is equal to 6. Okay, that's what's fixed. But you have to be careful with K, just like you have to be careful with D. So K is going to be a horizontal compression by a factor of 1 over 6. So you just have to be very careful. Okay, it's not a horizontal stretch. Anything horizontal is different. Okay, so for the D value, you take the opposite, and kind of same thing for the K value, you take the opposite of times 6. So, or the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 6 is 1 over 6. So that takes a little bit of studying and looking over. And then finally, the C value is the number at the end. The number at the end is negative 3, and that means it's a vertical translation by 3 units down because it's a negative. So we get to our tables. We have the original reciprocal function, which is right here. That's your parent function, and here's your child function. So we have a whole bunch of stuff to do based on the transformations we just listed up here. Now you have to remember where the x sandwich is, okay? So there's x in the middle, and then y is on the outside. So that means that because the 2 is being multiplied by your function, you're going to multiply all your y values by 2, and then you're going to subtract 3. So that's what's happening down here. You'll see here that I multiply all my y values by 2, and then I subtract by 3. You have to be careful with your x's though. So don't forget to add 2. But before you add 2, you have to multiply by 1 over 6. So every x value is being multiplied by 1 over 6 and then added by 2. So you'll notice that I already have that written down. So then you take your calculator and you do negative 2 times 1 over 6. Now be careful when you're doing this in your calculator. make sure that you're pressing equals first, okay? And then you write plus 6. So it should be about 5.7 here. Okay, and if you want that as a fraction using Desmos, you just use the fraction button. And so 17 over 3 is the answer here. So 17 over 3 is what we should have for x, which is wrong, because I think I typed it in wrong. It's not, sorry, it's negative 2 times 1 over 6 plus 2. Not plus 6. I don't know why I was doing plus 6. So there it is, 5 over 3. And then if you do that for every other x value, you will get these values here. Just make sure you use a calculator and you double check on your own. Same thing for the y's. If you put these values into your calculators, you will get the following values. So then we just need to go do the graph. And the graph is a little bit tricky with reciprocal functions. So you just have to be a little bit careful. Okay, so here we're going to graph 5 over 3. And in order to graph 5 over 3, you want to make sure you put that as a decimal. So 5 divided by 3 is 1.7. 1.7, if I'm scaling this by ones, and then down 4. So it's about right here. Okay. So 1.7, that's not true. 1.7 is closer to 2, then down 4, right about here. Okay. Here's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's negative 5. Okay, the next value is 11 divided by 6, which is 18.3, or 1.3, sorry. So 1.3, and then the value for y is negative 5. So 1.8. Oops, 1 divided by 6. 1.8 is about here, and down to negative 5. So it's about right here, which doesn't really help us. So then at 2, it's undefined. So I'm allowed to put at x equals 2 a line that is undefined, and that's an asymptote. It's actually called a vertical asymptote because it's a vertical line, and it crosses at x equals 2. The next is 13 divided by 6, which is 2.2. So at 2.2, and then my value for y is negative 1. And then finally, 7 divided by 3 is my last x, 2.3, and that's when equals negative 2. So again, we don't really have a clue what's happening here. So I want to go up to my equation and take a look at the c value. The c value is equal to negative 3. Okay, if you go down here, the c value is equal to negative 3, which means there's a horizontal asymptote at this line, which is the line y equals negative 3. That's always another asymptote here because it's the c value. So for reciprocal functions, you usually have 2 asymptotes. So then if I go ahead, now I have a better idea of what this will look like. Okay, it won't ever touch those asymptotes, but it gives you a better idea of what your reciprocal function will look like. So there it is.